Hello everyone, McJaw here with a quick little video about assets and adding them to Subnautica. So what I mean by assets is things like models and images and audio clips. In fact, those I think are the three types of things I mean. So number one, I've got this prefab here in Unity, right? So I'm in Unity, and I hope you can see the little text up here, Unity 2019.4.36 F1. That is the version of Subnautica. That is the version of Unity. That's the gosh, the version of Unity Subnautica was built with. The latest version of Subnautica was built with. If I can show in the log, I think if I scroll up to the top of the BepInEx log, here you go. There's that under Unity, running under Unity 2019.4.36. So I had to get the same version. So this is one kind of asset I'm working with. It's like a whole model. It's like a game object and a model and all its textures and everything. And here I have it as a prefab. There's also just sounds. So like you can see here, there's like nothing to see here. It's just this empty game object, so to speak, and it has an audio source, and the audio source has an audio clip. So that is also a prefab. And then finally, where is it? Somewhere in here, I should have the sprites. So maybe it's just right here. Yeah, so I've got this sprite atlas. So these are just 2D images. Like you can kind of see down here, it's sort of small, but that's just a picture. It's just a PNG. And so is that one. And they get bundled up in this. So I'm going to spend the video talking a little bit about this. I'm first going to talk about how to create the asset bundle in Unity, and then I'm going to talk about a couple different ways to then load the asset bundle into your mod. I'll talk first about how I do it using Vehicle Framework, because Vehicle Framework offers some specialized tools for doing this, and then I will show how Vehicle Framework does it. So that's like a more generalized approach to loading your assets. So while I'm here, let me just talk about sprites first. So this right here is just a little PNG. All I did was I had like a Windows Explorer here, and I dragged my PNG. I click and drag it into this window. This is the assets window, so I just dragged it into here. And then up here, I needed to make sure that it was Sprite 2D and UI, because I think it starts its life as default, whatever that is. So I do that. Change it to sprite, and then apply. And I'm pretty sure that's all I need to do. But you can't just add a sprite really in a meaningful way to an asset bundle. So you have to add it to this thing here, which is called a sprite atlas. So to make one of these, I right click in the assets window, create sprite atlas, just like that. And then I name it whatever I want to name it. It really doesn't matter. And then you have to go into objects for packing here, and then you hit the little plus, and then the window popped up on the other screen, but you can then search for your PNG. So I added a new one there. I don't want that though, so I'm going to minus it away. And then I can do pack preview, and it looks like this. So it kind of puts all of your sprites into one bundle, so-called sprite atlas. And then to add that sprite atlas to your asset bundle, you go down here to where it says asset bundle, and I already have one made, but probably you'll go new, and then a lot of the time when you do new and you try to type into this, it just doesn't work. Like no text goes in, so all you have to do is click away, go back into new, and then try to do it again. So then you just make sure that this little drop down here says the asset bundle that you want. Right now I've only got one available, so it's in Blossom. And that's how you'll do sprites. I think also you're going to need to go into Edit Project Settings. I think Editor. So I'm here on the left side, I'm in Editor. And then scroll down right here. Sprite Packer Mode, always enabled. So I think this starts its life as disabled or something like that. So if you try to build your asset bundle, the sprites just won't be included. So you got to make sure this is always enabled. You can X that out. So that's all you have to do for sprites. These sprites are in that sprite atlas, which are in my asset bundle. So I'm going to go back here to my prefab, which was my model, right? I show that it's just this model. And I've made the model, right? I made the prefab out of it, and then, you know, just to be clear, whenever I make something here, so I'm going to make this new thing, and it's a game object, and maybe it has a model. In order to make that a prefab, I just drag it into this window. And now this thing is a prefab. I don't care about new thing, though. So I'm just going to get rid of all that. And then, so that's what I've done here with this Blossom GR2. And then I just go down here and I add it into the bundle like that. So just make sure that says the name of your bundle, in this case, Blossom. So that's it for a model. The other thing is an audio clip. So to do an audio clip, you have to, I'll just kind of show you how it goes. So I create empty, and I usually name it whatever my audio clip is named. And then you come in here and you add component audio source. And then you have to have in here somewhere, so I've got this audio folder. And these are .wav, you can see it in here, it's .wav, and these are .mp3s. So as with the sprites, you just drag and drop your audio file into this window right here. And then so here's these. So then when you're in your audio clip, you take this thing, that's my audio clip, and I drag it right into the audio clip field like that. Okay, so I'm going to delete this because, again, I don't actually care about that. But I can show you the ones that I've already done. So like this one, for example, it just has this audio clip, and then I don't care about any of this stuff at all. I'm not using this as an audio source. It's just a vehicle for this audio clip is the way I'm using it. And then, like with all the other things, you just add it to the asset bundle like that. Okay, so that's models and audio clips and images, 2D images. So I have these all added to the asset bundle like we saw down here. So they're all in the Blossom asset bundle, so to speak. But out of the box, this version of Unity at least does not provide a way to build asset bundles. There's a couple ways to do it, but I always do it just like this. I have at the top level of my assets tab, so here's assets, right? I click assets and I'm at the top level, so it just says assets, right? It doesn't say assets, asset bundles, it just says assets. And then I have this specially named folder. This folder must be called editor. That's a Unity convention. It's just a Unity magic name. So in that folder, I have a script called build bundle. The name of this script doesn't actually matter. But you can see the contents of that script right here. It's just a C# script. And this is exactly what it is. It's very simple. I'll just take a moment here to talk about it. So using Unity Editor, you know, using System.io, nothing special there. We're just referencing some libraries that we need. It has this class called create asset bundles, and that class has one item, which is this static void method called build all asset bundles. That name doesn't matter. This thing matters. This is a menu item attribute. It's an attribute. You can tell it's an attribute because it's above this method declaration and it's using these square brackets. So it's a menu item attribute. And the menu item, the only parameter it takes is sort of the path to the menu item. So right here I've written assets build asset bundles. And if I come up here, this is the assets tab. And now down at the bottom, I have build asset bundles. So that corresponds exactly to assets build asset bundles right there. So what it does is it sort of declares this folder here, which is assets asset bundles, just like that. Hold on, I've lost the script, but that's that window or that folder. You can see it again right here. If that directory doesn't exist, right, if that folder doesn't already exist, go ahead and make it. And then this build pipeline build asset bundles is a Unity editor function. So it takes the asset bundles that we've declared, like Blossom, for example, and it builds them into an asset bundle. So then if I were to go into here, let me see. This is not the asset bundle itself. This is the manifest that gets generated with it. So I would like to, and maybe I can. So let me just scroll that into view, build asset bundles. I have moved away the asset bundle, so I don't actually have one here. But you can see about, as I talk over this in real time, about how long it takes to make the thing. I guess that was it. No, it's still going. It's still going. I can't click on anything, so it's still going. Anyway, the manifest has right here at the bottom where it says assets, and then there's all these like .prefab things. These are all the things that are actually included in the asset bundle that you built. Right now it's building the asset bundle, right? So this is a good way to see for sure what is the path to your asset and whether or not your asset was actually included. So if, for example, in the project settings, I failed to enable sprite packing, then I think my sprite atlas wouldn't appear here. Or at the very least, the sprite atlas would be empty. So anyway, this is a great place to see the actual real names. And if I refresh it, I think they should all be the same. So these are the real names, real paths that are really in the asset bundle. So this is a really important file if you're not sure how to reference your assets. Okay, so this here is the asset bundle. So it's just called Blossom. It has no file type. I'm going to show in Explorer and asset bundles, Blossom there. That's the asset bundle. So it's a file type file, which is to say it has no file extension. And it's the biggest thing here. That's one of the easier ways to tell. Like all these other things are teeny tiny. This is actually another asset bundle. That's why it's big. So that's your asset bundle. That's what you're going to include in your mod folder. So let me just show, for example, here it is. So this is the Blossom Submarine's actual sort of mod file, the DLL, and it will use this asset bundle file. So I put them in the same folder. Now, I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but sometimes I like to include images like this, sort of in a raw way. Like these are just PNGs that my mod is going to use. And I like to do that for some things because I like a user to be able to come in here and like edit that or switch out that image as they like. Same thing here. Like these are audio files. They're all .ogg files. They don't need to be .ogg files, but they are because it just makes it easier for me. So you don't need to use an asset bundle for audio files or images, but you do for a prefab like this whole vehicle model. I need to use an asset bundle. Okay, so that's everything in Unity. Now let me show you what kind of syntax I use in Vehicle Framework. So if you don't care about Vehicle Framework, or if you're not using it, or you're not doing a vehicle or whatever, you can skip past this to the next chapter of the video, but Vehicle Framework makes it really easy to do. So Vehicle Framework has this asset bundle interface class, which makes it easy. So for the Blossom, I have this one call here, which gets out all of the important assets for me into this struct that's called vehicle assets. So here I have the bundle name, which is Blossom, which I've deleted it. No, I didn't. Let me show you. So that's the exact name of this bundle in my mod folder. So Blossom, and then Blossom GR2, which again I'm going to show is right here. It's this name here, right? So Blossom GR2. The path really doesn't matter so much in what I've written, but the final name does matter. So Blossom GR2. And again, these other names match. That's the name of the sprite atlas, and inside the sprite atlas, these are the names of two sprites. So I can additionally use, like after I've loaded that asset bundle of the name Blossom, I can reference it again to get another sprite out of it. And then I think that's all that happens here. So those are ways to get vehicle, all the vehicle assets, and then the sprites. And then over here I have, again, I load the asset bundle called Blossom, and then I say load audio clip. The game object is named Leitmotif, and then inside that game object's audio source, the audio clip is called Leitmotif. So all that is different there is these capitals. So let me look at this one. So the game object is called wing retract sound, and then the audio clip is called retract wings. So to show you what I mean, let me go back to Blossom, prefab. So look, this is the game object that's called wing retract sound, right? Wing retract sound, and then the audio clip is called retract wings, right? So that's the order of things here. And I just load all these audio clips just like that. And I store them in an audio clip so I can call them whenever I like. So briefly, that's how it works using Vehicle Framework. But let me also show you behind the scenes what Vehicle Framework does so that you can use it even if you're not using Vehicle Framework. So let me see. So it starts with this. So Unity Engine offers this class asset bundle, and that's how you're going to get your asset bundle. So I have an asset bundle called bundle, and I do asset bundle.load from file bundle path. The bundle path is, I think, the relative path to the thing. So in this case, God, let me think. Is that is it? No, it's an absolute path. So to get the path to that folder, I'm always using this thing, path.getDirectoryName, calling assembly location. So the calling assembly location is, let me pull that up. So in this case, the calling assembly location is this one. This is the calling assembly, and its location is this whole path. So, take me back. So you load from file using the absolute path, and then you have an asset bundle. So then if you want to get a sprite, I have these 3 different ways to get a sprite. You get the sprite atlas, that's a Unity Engine thing. You can get the atlas.sprite, that's a Subnautica thing. Or you can get sprite, which is another Unity thing. So there's 3 things you might want to do. Let me just blow them all up. I think get sprite atlas. Let me just remember. So this is sort of the bottom level one. Remember that in Unity we packed up a sprite atlas, and this is this sprite atlas. So what is object array? So I've sort of abstracted these things away, but right, so this load all assets thing. So let me take a step back. You have that absolute path, and you make an asset bundle out of it, and then you can use this bundle, right? That's the same bundle, .load all assets, and that gives you an object array. Now that object array contains all of the assets you put in the bundle. So here I have this for each loop that goes over everything in the object array. So this says for every asset in your bundle, if its name is the name that you're looking for, and there's other ways to load things out of this. This is just how I do it. If the name is what you're looking for, try to grab it as a sprite atlas. So out of the box, this thing, all of your assets are just object, but I know that it's a sprite atlas, so I can cast it as a sprite atlas, which is what this sort of prefix thing is, sprite atlas in parentheses, that turns object into a sprite atlas. So that's all you should do, but I have this try catch block in case something goes wrong, like object really wasn't a sprite atlas. And then it just spits out a little error to let me know probably what happened is I wrote the path incorrectly. So that's how you get the sprite atlas. From a sprite atlas, you'll notice that both of these other functions use that method. So once you have a sprite atlas, you can call .getSprite on it, right? That's a sprite atlas method with your sprite name, and that will just give you the sprite. And then for get sprite, for this one, when you just want sprite, you call that method and that's it. But if you want it as an Atlas sprite, which you need a lot of times for Subnautica things, you can just call new atlas.sprite using that sprite, which in this case I've named ping. So those are the three ways to get, or let me say, three different ways to get a sprite out of an asset bundle. Depends on whether you want it as the sprite atlas in question, which you probably don't. You probably want either the sprite or the atlas.sprite. And if you're working with Subnautica, probably you want the atlas.sprite, but it's going to depend on your use case. So to get a game object, it's very similar to the other thing. For every asset in your asset bundle, if the name matches your game object thing, return that object, casting it as a game object. And that's it. So that mirrors very much what we saw in the getSpriteAtlas method, but I'm going to return it as a game object. So I got nothing really else to say about that. And then there's getAudioClip, which is pretty similar, except you need to do a little bit of a dive. So for every asset in your asset bundle, if its name is what you expect it to be, then grab that object, cast it as a game object. Since it's a game object, you can use this method, getComponent, and I want audio source. So I'm going to actually do getComponent, so give me every audio source on that object. In practice, I'm usually just putting one audio source on the object, but it looks like my code allows me to use several. But anyways, on that audio source, if it has the clip of the name that you want, just return that clip. So that returns something of type audio clip, which is a very typical Unity way to play a sound. In this case, I said get all the audio sources, and then for each of them, if any of them have a clip that is the one you're looking for, return the clip. Right, so that's basically it. Since I'm here and we've gotten this far, I'm going to take a second to look at these other methods. So get vehicle assets from bundle is just like a really compact way to get normal things for vehicle framework vehicles. So it takes the bundle name, it takes the name of the model, that's that prefab, that game object, the sprite atlas name, the ping sprite's name, and the crafter sprite's name. So this is the sort of like transparent one that appears on the HUD. This is the one that appears in like the blueprints page. If you have a fragment game object, you can add it here. And then this one is for the unlock sprite. So that would appear once you unlock the vehicle. It comes up on like the left side of the screen. It says, hey, new unlock. So this just does all of those things, really. It uses all those methods I already talked about. Get game object, get the sprite, get the raw sprite. Sometimes that's needed. Get the game object. So one of the reasons I made this is because it makes it easy to like handle opening and closing the bundle. So it's something you might run into. Let me show you again here. So one of the first things that happens in the Blossom mod is that I open up this asset bundle. I open up the Blossom asset bundle and I take some things out of it. But you'll notice this is the same bundle. So later on, I also open up that asset bundle. And the problem you can run into is if you try to open the same bundle twice. Unity doesn't allow that. So it's important to see that I've closed the bundle. So I opened it up, got the things I needed, and I closed it. And then later on, I opened it up again, got some different things out of it, and I closed it. So opening and closing should always be paired so that you don't run into issues. So I don't really think there's much to say. Like if you open up your asset bundle, you can do these things. You just pass that asset bundle interface back in. So I think that's what I used. Let me just show it one more time. That's just load audio clip. Do I do it here? I do load an additional sprite, right? So this get vehicle assets from bundle thing makes it easy. Like it compacts the syntax for some common things, but I was like, hey, I want actually another asset. So using your asset bundle thing loads something else out of it. So that's one of the cool benefits of the asset bundle interface class I wrote. I think that's it. I think that's really all I have to say about that. These other things are very similar. Just get audio clip and so on. So there's nothing else really to see here. So hopefully from start to finish that explains to you how to create asset bundles in Unity and how to then get those assets out of the asset bundle in your C# mod. Okay. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please leave a like or subscribe or a comment or whatever you like. Check out my mods if you want. Anyways, have a good one. Be happy, be merry. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.